$3,000 for accommodations at a luxury hotel, $1,000 for meals at high-class restaurants, $500 at a well-known spa. What the heck are these? I happened to take a peek at the credit card statement, which normally is left for my husband to take care of. There's a lineup of bills that shows a horrendous amount. Moreover, all of these reservations that have been paid for in advance are for the same period. Those were dates when my husband, who serves in PTA at our daughter's middle school, is to attend a board retreat. Even if I'm not familiar with these things, I understand what it means. To support me in my demanding job, my husband has decided to be a stay-at-home dad. Thanks to his devotion to his family, I've been able to commit myself to work without worries. I've been grateful to him for being too good to be true. Yet, his true intention may have not been for the family. I carefully take out something and slip it into his wallet. At the same time, I make a call to someone. He will be leaving in a week, probably with great spirit. I hope it will be an unforgettable memory for him. My name is Maggie. I'm a nurse. I work at a university hospital. Honestly, my days are so busy that there's no difference between days and nights. The reason I can continue working my crazy hours is my beloved husband, Glenn. I love my job and I'm proud of it. I couldn't choose between my marriage and my job, and cried hard in front of him many times. He respected my determination and decided to be a full-time stay-at-home dad to support his family. He always pushed me to work to the best of my ability. He never paid attention to the curious eyes of other mothers, and even served on the PTA board at our daughter's middle school. My daughter Sasha was also supportive. I, as a breadwinner, had been working hard to make ends meet for my family. One day, I received a call from my credit card company. I changed the debit account for my own convenience the other day. The money wasn't deposited in time for withdrawal, and it was an overdraft. Oh, darn it. I hastily checked my credit card statement in order to make the transfer. Since I usually left such matters to Glenn, I hadn't checked their statement for years. I realized how lax I had been. My eyeballs almost popped out of my head when I saw the statement on my phone screen. The total amount was outrageous. I panicked thinking about what I had spent. I couldn't even remember what I bought. I decided to check the details. There I found a long history of which I had no recollection. Name of designers, brand boutiques, famous perfumery, and a luxury watch brand. I liked those brands, but I hadn't bought anything from them. For a moment, I wondered if Glenn, who had a family card, was planning to surprise me. I hadn't received any of them, though. Moreover, all the purchases were made only on Wednesdays. It was a day I worked a night shift, and Glenn had a board meeting. What's going on? I resolved to question him as soon as I got home. I hurried home anxiously. Then I heard a voice calling out to me. Hi, Maggie, long time no see. Are you on the way home from work? I was almost home when I ran into Tara. She was also a PTA member and one of the few mothers I knew from the school. Hey, long time. Thank you for always helping Glenn. I hope he isn't giving you a hard time. I didn't know what to say to her, so I quickly brought up the common subjects that I could think of. She patted me on the shoulder, saying I was acting distant. The moment she moved her arm, my sense focused on the fragrance in the air. The perfume she wore was the signature of the Parfumerie that was on the credit card statement. I had wanted to buy it so badly that I tried it on many times in the shop. I missed the timing to buy it in the end, but I clearly remember the scent. Smells nice. That's the one I wanted too. Did you buy it? No idea why I asked her that. Jealousy. I was ashamed of my foolishness. Still, the purchases were always made on Wednesdays when the meeting was held. A PTA member wearing the same perfume. Once I suspected her, my thoughts went more and more toward the unpleasant side. Tara, of course, was unaware of my suspicion and cheerfully responded, "Actually, I got it as a gift. It was our anniversary the other day." She laughed cutely. "Oh, that's so nice. You guys are so in love." I felt relaxed, and after enjoying the casual conversation, we parted ways. It was not surprising that she had it since it was a popular item. Even after the birth of her children, she still talked about her anniversary with her husband in such a cute and happy way. She didn't say husband. I stopped abruptly and returned to the place where I had left her. Of course, she wasn't there. But the urge to go after her was so strong. Glenn and she had something going on. The little doubt that popped up in my mind swelled to the point that I could no longer ignore it. The next Wednesday, my family saw me off to work as usual. Then I asked my colleagues to let me leave early. I didn't tell Glenn, of course. If I told him, it would have been meaningless. I waited for him a short distance from home. Soon after, my mother-in-law arrived and in turn, Glenn left for the meeting. So far so usual. I followed him to the school. The board members had a meeting in the classroom for about half an hour and then dispersed. While most of them rushed back home, Glenn slowly came out at last, arm in arm with Tara. They stared into each other's eyes as they intertwined their fingers and walked toward a hotel. They had no clue that I was only a few meters behind them. My face scrunched up with tears. I believed in him. I loved him. Did he allow me to work long hours for his convenience? I stood there, feeling betrayed and despair. Mercilessly, my phone displayed the latest credit card usage, which showed the hotel bill he just went in. Eventually, the fun was over and the two of them came out looking happy. I calmly snapped pictures of them. There were no more tears, not even a trace of affection left in my heart. After that, I avoided seeing Glenn as much as possible, using my work as an excuse. Personally, I wouldn't have minded divorcing him right away. The divorce meant that I was taking Sasha away from her father. I didn't want to speak to anyone until I had a chance to think it through. "Mom?" Sasha's sudden voice brought me back to reality. I had been crying alone in the living room in the middle of the night since that day. I thought I was being discreet, but it seemed that she had noticed something was wrong. She couldn't sleep, or maybe she just woke up. She came out of bed late at night and gently hugged me. "I don't want you to be sad. Your enemies are my enemies. I won't forgive anyone who makes you sad. Even if it's Dad, I won't forgive him." Her words opened the floodgate that had been holding all the feelings. I waited like a child. Tears of gratitude for her and apologies, and everything else spilled out. "If I divorce your dad, things won't be the same as before. We have to move, and we won't be able to see him every day. If you have to change schools, you won't be able to see your friends. I spilled out of my concerns one after another. She interrupted and assured me, "I still want to be with you, Mom. I want to be a nurse like you. I'll be fine, so please do as you want." She held my hands tightly. "Thank you, sweetheart." Encouraged by her, I decided to act on my plan. I had gotten into the habit of checking my credit card statements and found out that Glenn was planning a week-long trip. He called it a PTA board retreat. In the past, I would have sent it off without a second thought. Common sense told me that it would be unthinkable for parents with children to be away from home for a week at the same time. Even if it were to happen, and even if Glenn were to advance the cost of the trip on a credit card, the destination and the type of hotel were far off from the norm. He underestimated me not to find out. His attempts to hide evidence became extremely difficult for him. I had not only the list of credit card transactions, but also the details of the courses at a chic restaurant, the confirmation of the hotel booking, and even the request for a surprise cake. I was grateful to him for quitting his job and becoming a stay-at-home dad. I thought it was my duty to work hard to provide for my family in return. I was definitely not working for him to betray his family and fool around like this. Don't mess with me. On my next day off, I calmly began my revenge against him. First, I called the hotel and every restaurant he had booked. Although the reservations were made in his name, I knew the details. When I told them that I was his wife, they didn't suspect me so much. Later that night, I took out his wallet that was left in the living room and pulled out his credit card. He used to carry around cash only before we got married and had never made his own card other than the family one. If his only card went missing, he would immediately notice something was wrong. So I put an expired one in his wallet. It had been renewed about 6 months ago, but I had been neglecting to get rid of it. I was truly amazed by my laziness and praised myself a little only for that occasion. It looked the same, but it was still expired. If he used it somewhere, he would have found out right away. It just needed to last until he was away from home. I'm leaving now. I'm going to have a lot of discussions to make the school better. Sasha, take good care of your mom, okay? Glenn left the house smiling, unaware of anything. Sasha and I also saw him off with smiles on our faces. I could have punched him in the face, but strangely, I felt very peaceful thinking that it was the last time I saw him. Well, let's get started. Yes. We made sure he was out of sight. In an instant, our smiles were concealed, and we rushed to pack our belongings. The movers showed up shortly after, and thanks to their efficiency, we were able to move into our new home in no time. Excuse me, where should we take these? Oh, don't worry about them. You can just leave them there. They took off wondering about the boxes that were piled up in one corner of the room. And I handed them over to another mover who arrived in turn. The contents were all Glenn's belongings. There was nothing left in the house after that. Waiting for his return in the living room, filled with memories were credit card statements and pictures of him and Tara that I had taken the other day. I also left my wedding ring that had lost its meaning, and a dread of divorce papers. I noticed that my cell phone has tons of missed calls. They were all from Glenn, who probably noticed something strange on the trip. Too bad for him. I sent a text saying that I was unable to respond due to several emergency operations. I read my vibrating phone in a tower and put it in the bottom of my bag. By the time his meddling calls had calmed down, my call history had exceeded 100. Sasha and I couldn't help but giggle at it. Oh, right. I should probably make one last call. Yeah, that's a good idea. We made a call to someone. Later, what's going on here? Maggie? Sasha? Anybody home? When Glenn returned home, in a good mood, after a week-long affair, he was shocked to find the house empty. Stunned by what I had left behind for him, he repeatedly called me to no avail. Of course not. I blocked him on my phone. Then he received a call from an unknown number. He thought it was me and jumped at the call. Hello? What the hell have you done? I was asked to pay for all the bookings I had already prepaid online, and my credit card expired. Do you have any idea how humiliated I was? This is nothing but harassment. I had to borrow money from everyone. Take responsibility and come up with the money now. So, did you borrow $5,000 from each of them? If that's true, that's an awful lot of money. Did you go overseas? I bet you must have had a lot of fun. I hope Tara didn't give you a hard time. Glenn stiffened at an unexpectedly low, commanding voice. He turned pale and started trembling so badly that he could not make a word. Is this Tara's? I'm so honored that you remember me. Yes, this is her husband. I know everything about you guys. I will make a firm demand for alimony from her. I won't let you guys get away with it. He hung up the phones as soon as he finished. He had no interest in hearing what Glenn had to say. Panic-stricken, he tried to contact Tara, but the phone was dead. It had already been cancelled. It was her husband whom I called and told about their affair that day. He was surprised, but not distraught, and sounded deeply sorry. He was somewhat aware of her affair. It was still shocking for him to find that her cheating partner was a close acquaintance. He even offered to cooperate with me to do what I wanted. After I got the address of her parents from him, I sent all of Glenn's belongings along with a copy of my divorce papers and pictures of their affair to them. They were, of course, furious. They were in such an uproar. That the whole neighborhood came to know about Tara's divorce and losing custody of her children due to the adultery. Her parents were wealthy with a successful local business. She probably thought that they were going to help her no matter what. They were enraged with her actions, which were fatal to their credibility as a business owner. They did not even let her inside the house when she had come to them in tears. In the end, she had nobody to turn to and began to live alone in a small apartment. She worked day and night at a place that was famous for its low wage and hardship to pay alimony. Meanwhile, Sasha and I temporarily moved in with my parents until the divorce was finalized. Glenn also had returned to his. I'm actually still in touch with them as they care about Sasha greatly. According to his dad, he literally spends every waking moment on the farm now. He can't afford to delay the payment of alimony and child support. His dad sounded deeply dismayed by him. My attorney managed to negotiate a hefty amount of alimony on top of child support, so his monthly payment is quite a sum. I'm sure that he would have to work hard but unable to save for himself for years to come. It sounds like a living hell. After the divorce was successfully finalized, I moved to a new house with Sasha. In the end, she transferred to another school. Her new teachers and classmates have welcomed her warmly, so she's been enjoying her new life. Now that Glenn is someone from the past, I have to do the housework myself. It is much harder to keep a good balance between work and home than I imagine. But I definitely prefer this life rather than the one doubting my partner and a friend. I feel refreshed being freed from all the negatives now. I vote to be happier and work harder than before.